Okay, I hope this works. Oh god, sorry, just a sec. Ah! I had to close VTube Studio in order to get this fixed. Oh no! Oh no, the blue sky thing was a sign of scuff to come. Oh god, okay. I'm gonna mute myself again. I'll be just a sec. Okay, can we be normal now? Why am I not showing up on the screen? Okay, there we go. Good God. Good God. All right. You want to know what's funny? I started the stream saying, oh, look at that. I almost forgot to unmute myself, but I didn't. I caught it this time. Haha. Haha. And then the first thing I see in chat is no audio mute. Because of course. Every time that I'm like, oh, you know, I finally learned how to stream. I finally figured it out. My computer goes, no, you didn't. No, you didn't, dumbass. Don't know how normal a Novella stream can be. Fair point. Fair point. So anyways, what's up, watchers? Welcome back to more Steins Gate Zero after, that. Those technical difficulties. Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck happened there. I think it has... Okay, so my theory is that I opened up OBS and voice mod before I switched over from my speakers to my earbuds so that this way you guys don't hear my voice echoed back. Or that you don't hear the game echoed back or whatever. Anyways. So, because I did it in the wrong order, voice mod went, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? You can't just change, you can't just unplug one thing and plug another thing back in. It doesn't work like that. And then because of that, OBS went, oh, well, voice mod's not sending me microphone data, so I'm just gonna stop looking for it. And the worst part is, okay, so whenever I search my computer, like just in the little search bar on Windows, on the little toolbar at the bottom, so if I search for voice mod, it only brings up the original, which doesn't work anymore. If I want voice mod v3, I have to go to my desktop. And also, this can't be the desktop folder on my computer. No, that would be too easy. I have to go to my physical desktop. And the problem is, VTube Studio covers that up. So I had to close down basically like half of the stuff that I had set up before stream in order to fix this issue. Absolute bullshit. I love computers so much, I swear to God. Anyways, so, how have you all been outside of my technical difficulties? I've been doing pretty good. Today I finished up basically the last of my Christmas shopping. The only thing I have left to do is to order my dad's gift on Amazon, because I could not find what he wanted in real life, and he just has an Amazon wish list, so it's like, okay, fuck it, might as well. I prefer to buy Christmas gifts in real life if possible. I prefer to buy most things in real life if possible. I like being able to actually see what I am getting, because, like, sure, online you have, like, the pictures and stuff and whatever, but it doesn't give you the best, like, sense of scale for what you're getting. Now, I order stuff online all the time, mostly because a lot of the clothes that I like, they don't really make them in Canada, is the problem. I'm sure that there are, like, a couple indie Lolita brands that are in Canada, but I don't know of them. I don't know of them outside of maybe Gloomth and the Cult of Melancholy. They're really cool. I've wanted to go and visit their physical store for a bit, but it's a bit of a drive, so I haven't gotten around to it yet. And plus, they have weird hours. But either way, yeah. So been doing a bit of Christmas shopping, including Christmas shopping for myself, because my grandma does this thing where every year she'll give me and my brother about usually like $200, and we kind of buy ourselves our Christmas gifts, because she's like, look, I have this money set aside for gifts for you two. I have no idea what you actually want, so go and buy things that you actually want. So that was what I was doing, because this year, usually I spend that whole $200 on like a Lolita fashion thing. But this year, I was just too busy in October, didn't get around to ordering stuff then, and then it's like, oh, well, fuck, if you don't order that stuff, like typically at the like beginning of September, you're not getting it for Christmas. So, and I couldn't think of anything that I wanted, so, for a while, the only things that I had was a Lapras plushie that I got on a trip, and, a Discworld book. And that was it. Weird Sisters, to be specific. But, today I picked up a couple of nice things. The bookstores near me, they've started selling these, like, really nice, sort of, like, smaller hardcover copies of classic books. So I picked up a copy of Frankenstein and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland because, frankly, I'm surprised I haven't read either of those yet. I mean, I am into Lolita fashion. You would think I would have read Alice in Wonderland by now. But no, haven't even touched it. Okay, before we get into Steins Gate, because I know I'm rambling a lot right at the start of a stream, and it is taking precious time away from our funny time travel game. But, I do know that there was one time where I almost got to read Alice in Wonderland, and I think it was my school took a class trip to, I think it was Fort Henry. It's this, old sort of, military base from, I think it's like the 1800s. It's in either, I think it's Kingston? Anyways, it's been a long fucking time since I've been there. This happened when I was like 12. But it was for, like, our history class. We went there for some kind of, like, end-of-year trip. Sorry for the model glitch right there. I don't know what happened. But yeah, we went there once, and in the gift shop at the end of the trip, They just had copies of Alice in Wonderland in there for some reason. And I was very tempted to pick it up, but then I was like, no, am I actually gonna read it? Probably not. So, and I was like, oh, it's like $30. You know, I've brought a bunch of money, but a lot of that's supposed to be for food. Like, that's supposed to be for my lunch. So, didn't end up getting it then. So it's nice that I've gotten it now. It's been 13 years in the making at minimum. So, I mean, I can't read it yet though. I have to wait until Christmas because my grandma was upset that I read through the entirety of Weird Sisters before I even told her that I got it for her to give me for Christmas. Look, I can't help it. I can't help it. I was hungry for Discworld at the time. And actually, I just got a new one from my library app yesterday. The We Free Men, the beginning of the Tiffany Aching series. So, looking forward to that one. But yeah. So books and old school trips that you took when you were 12 aside, I think we should probably go and play the game. I didn't pull it up this time because, or at least not before stream, solely because the last time that I did, after I left it sitting at the main menu for too long, it started to play like anime opening music, basically. Okay, there we go. Now it's loaded. And yeah, I was worried that it would get copyright claimed, so we're not doing that anymore. That's actually why I don't open up games before starting my streams. It's because a lot of the time, I just end up sitting there listening to the same music over and over and over. But yeah, okay, so last time on Steins Gate Zero. First off, I had to explain that it has been a hot minute, and I don't have the best memory of everything that's happened in the game so far, which is actually kind of ironic because the main focus at the moment is Kagari and her memories, because as we have discovered, it seems that Kagari has Kurisu's memories, like, implanted in her. And they seem to almost be taking her over and turning her into Kurisu. So, that's kind of fucked up. And, yeah, Okabe is doing his fucking best. To be honest, I feel like I say this every stream, but the Okabe jackass thing, I'm starting to feel like we might not need this. We might not need this anymore, which is wild to me. Like, we used that like once a stream when we were playing Steins Gate 1. I guess it's just a sign of how much his character has developed. But yeah, so I believe also last time we left off, because I didn't review the last stream before this one, to be honest. I did not have time. I finished eating dinner and I was like, oh fuck, it's 15 minutes before stream. So, alright, but yeah, if I remember correctly, we had Suzuha and Maho here to kind of help us get to the bottom of what's happening with Kagari. And, yeah, she had a bit of an attack as she passed out. She woke up, fully thought that she was Kurisu, and had to be coaxed back to, being herself, basically. Really weird, really kind of fucked up situation. So, here we are. That was the first thing Suzuha said to me when I walked through the door. She and Maho were sitting on the sofa. I told them about the situation already via Rhine. But they were still worried anyway, probably.
今は落ち着いてるが、一時はかなり混乱していた。
やっぱり、クリスの記憶？
ああ。ここまで来ると、もう間違いないだろう。
I still didn't know why, but inside Kagari's mind were Kurisu Makise's memories. Okay, cool, you're just gonna explain what's happened so far. Alright, Okabe, go ahead. The question was how to deal with this problem. There were limits to what we could do on our own. The most we could hope to do was figure out how this had happened. That wouldn't be a real solution. To really fix this, we needed to get her back to normal, to erase Kurisu's memories and restore the original Kagari. And for that, we needed the help of a specialist. Maho Hyajo was a specialist in that sense. There was nobody else who knew as much about memories and the workings of the brain. But there was a problem. We still hadn't told her that Kagari was from the future. In this world line, Maho didn't know Suzuha and the others that well. Of course she didn't know about the future, or the time machine. Was it okay to tell her?
ねえ、あなたたちはかがりさんとはどうやって知り合ったの？漆原さんのところに来る前は彼女はどこで何をしていたのかしら？かがりは千葉の県境で倒れていたところを助けられたんだ。意識を取り戻した時点でそれ以前の記憶はなかった。
That was the same as the last world line.
でも子供の頃の記憶はあるんでしょ？鈴葉さんは彼女と知り合いだったのよね。子供の頃の彼女はどこで何をしていたの？
Yeah, Maho, that's not as easy a question to answer as you think it is. Suzuha looked at me silently. Just a sec, Suzuha, I gotta check my phone! Is Kagari okay? She's fine, don't worry, I'll do something. We're all doing our best, so I'll just say she's fine, don't worry. But wait, isn't Mayuri with Kagari at the moment? But I'm so worried. You getting worried will just make things worse. Show her a smile. Yeah. This is harder for Kagari than any of us. We need to cheer her up. You're right. Thanks, Okarin. Thank you. The stickers are so cute. Hi, Logan. What's up? Or I guess you asked me what's up first. Not too much. I was just talking about how I finished up my Christmas shopping. Finally have a copy of Alice in Wonderland that technically I'm only gonna get in God, not even a month. Holy shit. How is it less than a month until Christmas? Just got done with moving homes. God damn. That's awesome. Good for you. Moving is real fucking tiring. I remember just moving my stuff from my parents' house to my apartment. Unpacking everything took like 2 or 3 days. Moving is insane. On one hand, I really want to get a house someday. On the other hand, the idea of moving out of my place is, it's a daunting one. I didn't have half as much stuff whenever I moved in, so I don't know how that's gonna go for me. Probably gonna have to do some real closet cleaning. Suzuha looked at me silently. She felt responsible for what Kagari was going through right now, probably. I could see on her face that she wanted to bring back the old Kagari somehow. Old house blocks getting torn down to work on the pipes underneath them. Oh damn. And that's not so awesome. But I mean, I hope your new place is cool. I hope it's a nice place.
おじさん、どうする？ヒヤジョウさんに話しても。
Maho was a scientist. If we told her the truth, she'd be sure to take an interest in time travel. She might start working on a time machine. This was a big risk. But
かがりを救う方法を突き止めるためにはやむを得ないか。
he's got a point. I thought for a moment, then nodded. My priority right now was helping Kagari. Suzuha nodded back and then turned to face Maho.
今から話すことを知っているのはごく一部の人間しかいない。だからヒヤジョウさんも決して他の誰かに漏らしたりはしないで。なんなの急に。
Maho seemed overwhelmed by the sudden chill emanating from Suzuha. Understandable. She thought she was just gonna hear about some girl's, like, childhood. But Suzuha kept talking.
冗談に聞こえるかもしれないけど、冗談なんかじゃないんだ。約束できるか否か。答えは2つに1つだ。
Maho looked at me, hesitant. But she must have seen something in my face.
わかったわ。誰にも言わない。約束する。
She nodded.
それじゃあ、まずはさっきの質問の答え。子供の頃、私とかがりがどこで何をしていたか。私たちは第三次世界大戦が終わった後の未だ各地で内戦が続く戦時下に暮らしていた。2036年のね。
This really is a hell of a thing to just drop on someone. Maho's mouth hung open for a second, but soon her cheeks flushed with anger.
からかわないで。人が真剣に聞いてるのに。
Suzuha remained silent. Her eyes were ice cold and staring straight into Maho's.
ヒアジョーさん、鈴葉が最初に忠告したはずだ。これは作り話でも冗談でもない。
I mean, you're wrong about the first one, but you don't know that.
鈴葉とかがりは25年後の未来からやってきた存在なんだ。タイムマシンでな。
タイムマシン？そんなものが作れるわけが。
その理論の大元を作ったのがマキセ・クリスだと言ってもか。
The second I said Kurisu's name, the anger vanished from her face.
そんなの。わかった。聞くだけは聞くわ。
Just a sec. Ugh. Suzuha and I told her almost everything. How I met Kurisu, about the D-mails, what happened in the Alpha World line, the development of the time machine, Mayuri's death, a tractor field theory, what happened in 2036, what was going on with Kagari. The one thing I didn't tell her was the truth about Kurisu's death. Yeah, understandable.
とりあえず話を整理させて。つまり鈴葉さんとかがりさんは岡部さんに未来を変えてもらうために2036年からやってきたと、そういうのね。そうだよ。
Maho sank into the sofa and sighed.
岡部さんにそんな大層なことができるとは思えないわ。
I mean, to be fair, in this timeline, he kinda didn't. You are selling him a little short, though.
たった一人の人間に全人類の命運がかかっているなんて。
俺だって無理だと思っている。
Yeah. I'd given up, actually. On the entire future.
到底信じられない話ではある。あるけど。でも、あなたの言ったその理論なら、確かにタイムリープは可能かもしれない。それに何より、その理論の元を作ったのはクリスなんでしょ？だったら、検証に値するわ。だってあの子は天才だもの。
Her words together seemed like a mixture of admiration, jealousy, and envy.
信じるんだな。
その代わり、今度見せてほしいわね。そのタイムマシンを。乗ってきたって言うなら、あるんでしょ？どこかに。ある。すぐ近くにね。検証作業は必要だけど、とりあえず、あなたたちの話を信じることにする。だからあなたたちも私に信じさせるよう協力して。わかった。
There was no hesitation in her
あり
voice.
がとう。
If Suzuha said it was okay, it wasn't my place to speak. If Maho was going to help, that was all that mattered.
話をかがりの件に戻そう。さっきも言ったようにはぐれたのは 彼女が10歳の頃、そしてそれ以降先月になって見つかるまでの足取りは全くつかめていない。俺はその間彼女が海外にいたんじゃないかと考えている。
For how long, I had no way of knowing. It may have been the whole time, or perhaps only a week.
オカリンおじさんの仮説だとビクトル・コンドリア大学にいたことになるね。
ああ、そして何らかの形でアマデウスと接触した。
The look on Maho's face was one between acceptance and resignation. She sighed loudly. A copy of Kurisu's memory data had been saved for use by Amarius. This data was the only possible source for the memories within Kagari's head. Her words today had only strengthened my theory. Exchange program, lecture. These fragments of memories were all from before she'd come to Japan. The memory data had last been saved just before she'd come to America. That was another match.
この前レスキネン教授に確認してみたんだけど、クリスの記憶データは凍結されたまま誰もアクセスできないはずだと言っていたわ。ただそれが事実かどうかを確かめる権限は今の私にはない。
Yeah, that is fair. He could be lying. I mean, he could end up being like a twist bad guy, kind of like how Tenyoji was in the first game.
それにプロジェクトが凍結される前に何者かがデータを持ち出したことだって考えられるし、
持ち出すことのできる人間はアマデウスの研究に携わっていた人間に限定されるんじゃないか。
そうとは限らない。外部からサーバーに侵入すれば誰にだってできることよ。
Anyone was an exaggeration. Your average person wouldn't have a clue. You'd have to be a super hacker. Hey, don't we know someone like that?
問題は目的ね。
I mean, I don't think
小樽
Daru
さん
would
の
do
仮説
anything
が
with it
正し
though.
いとしてなぜそんなことをする必要があったのか。
If anything, I think Daru would just use it to make himself an AI girlfriend. The most obvious possibility was that someone wanted access to Kurisu Makise's mind, which we did see in the first game. CERN really wanted that. CERN really fucking wanted Kurisu Makise's help to make their time machine. So maybe this is sort of like when Kurisu died in this timeline and they were like, fuck. Our plan isn't gonna work anymore. Cause she's fucking dead. They were like, okay, let's make backups. Let's make ourselves a new Kurisu. And then we can make our time machine and take over the world. But Amadia should suffice for that. There was no need to move her memories into another person's brain. And why would they want her mind that badly anyway? She was a genius, sure, but she'd only published a single paper. There was no reason to think it would be that important to anyone. Unless...
もしクリスの記憶の中にタイムマシン理論の基礎があることを何者かが知ったとしたら、
Someone out there would want it.
でもクリスがその理論に行き着いたのはあなたの言う別の世界線なんでしょ？
中鉢論文を知ってるか？
中鉢？それってロシアに亡命した？
Heck yeah, hi 100th Assassin! Welcome to the stream! Oh god, this is a plot point that came up in the first Steins Gate. Where it's like, yeah, he ran off to Russia with Kurisu's paper.
そうだ。
例の論文には私も軽く目を通したけど、とても論文と言えるものではなかったわ。
あれは劣化コピーだと俺は考えている。オリジナルが別に存在するんだ。
一体何の話？
ドクター中鉢の本名は牧瀬正一。クリスの実の父だ。
I thought back to what I saw that day. Yeah, and then it all went very, very wrong.
クリスが日本に行く前に言ってたの、父親に会うって。新しい理論の発表会をするらしくて、その招待状が来たって。
That day, Nakabachi had stolen Kurisu's paper. And after he'd gone to Russia, he'd published his own paper. I hadn't seen it myself. Whenever I thought about it, I always thought about what I'd seen that day, and what happened right after, so I'd been avoiding it. But I'd heard the professors at school talking about it. It was so terrible that it had become something of a running gag. But if it was just a bad copy of an original, if what had been published was just Nakabachi's own reinterpretation of Kurisu's theory, and her original still existed somewhere else, that's right. Kurisu had written the original theory. It had to be better than that. She'd actually succeeded in making the time leap machine.
それじゃあ、その論文の存在を知った誰かがクリスの記憶からタイムマシンに関する理論を取り出そうとしてるってこと？第三次世界大戦が起きたきっかけは EU とロシアによるタイムマシン競争の過熱なんだ。そこにアメリカまで横やりを入れて収拾がつかなくなった。まさに時代は歴史通りに動き出している。
Those people had attacked the lab in the last world line. Tenyoji said that they weren't Japanese, but they were military. Some military wanted Kurisu's time machine theory. That would explain why they chose to download her memories into Kagari's mind. Worried about Kagari? We'll do what we can. It bothers me that I can't do anything. It's not much different for me. Don't say that. You're much stronger than me. I'm not that great. You always think I'm a lot better than I really am. But thank you. I'll do the best I can to live up to the person you think I am. Thank you. You really are strong. Aw. That was a nice little conversation. That would explain why they chose to download her memories into Kagari's mind. Amadeus would never talk about something that it didn't want to talk about. But what about a human? There were truth serums and torture methods. A human could be forced to talk, maybe. Maybe they'd done that to Kagari. Of course, this was just a guess. But if it was a military that had tried to kidnap Kagari, it was quite possible.
記憶のデータを脳に移植するか。
可能なんだろう、今の技術でも。クリスはそれを成し遂げた。それはクリスが研究していたことの応用だと言っていた。
ええ、そうね。可能よ。それに、もともとアマデウスはそのために作られたものなんだし。
Oh. Medical applications, wasn't it? Leskinen had talked about it at the seminar, and Maho had interpreted. In this world line, Amadeus had been shut down, and the seminar had never happened, though. Maho gave me the same explanation I'd heard before. I was right, and memory data transplants were theoretically possible. I guess that does make sense, to have, like, Amadeus as a backup copy of someone's brain. Because then this way, if something happens, like if they, you know, get, like, a traumatic brain injury, or if they suffer from a stroke or something, you can just upload the memories back into the person, and hypothetically, like, their brain would kind of rewire itself back into the right shape, I guess. Because brains are a lot more elastic. Like, they're a lot more flexible and malleable than people think that they are. like right after a stroke, your brain is like basically trying to rewire itself. And like one of the issues is figuring out how best to rehabilitate someone after that so that this way their brain sort of gets rewired properly when every single brain is a little bit different, and something that'll work perfectly for one person could end up absolutely fucking over a different one. Brain stuff is fucking complicated.
クリスの考え出したタイムリープマシンだってその応用だわ。
That is true. Like, that was basically just, like, hey, we're gonna overwrite your memories in the past with your memories from the present.
もっとも、そのどちらも自分の頭の中に自分の記憶を移植するという目的で作られたものだがな。
And Kurisu had said that even that was dangerous.
じゃあ、他人の脳に別人の記憶を移植するとどうなる？単純に OS の違う PC のハードディスクに別のデータをコピーというわけにはいかないと思う。
Fair enough. Alright, what is the button for the menu? That's not the button for the menu. Which one is it? That's not it. That's not it. That's not it.
人間の脳のキャパシティがどれくらいあるのかすら分かっていないの。
What fucking button do I hit? One! Okay. Alright, now we can read the tips. There we go. It is gonna take me a little bit to get used to, the way that this game works in terms of its hotkeys. Like, I need some time to remember all the controls because that is not intuitive at all. Why does one pull up the menu? Okay, OS. Operating system. The basic software of a computer that controls the entire system and allows other programs to operate in parallel.
容量的なことだけを言えば、20歳の女性2人分の記憶くらいは余裕で保存できるというデータはあるけど。
Daughter had once told me that the brain storage capacity was 3.24 terabytes.
だけど、問題はそれ以外の部分。岡部さんの言う通り、自分自身の頭に記憶をダウンロードすることすらまだ実用段階には至っていない。それなのに他人の記憶をとなるといつ齟齬を起こしてもおかしくないわ。そして実際に今そのエラーは起きつつある。このまま放っておくとかがりはどうなる？ひょっとしてマキセ・クリスになってしまうのか？記憶と人格は別物よ。脳の中で記憶を扱うのは海馬と大脳皮質。一方で人格は前頭前野の働きによって形成されている。
You're welcome to share them if you want, I just might not read them out because they're not related to the game at hand. Personality are different things. Memories are controlled by the hippocampus and cerebral cortex. Personality is constructed by the prefrontal cortex. Interesting.
それらの働きはお互い密接につながっている部分も大きいわ。
Different parts of the brain had different functions, but they weren't completely independent. Memories probably played a large role in forming your personality.
2つの記憶が混在することで脳に対する負担もかなり大きくなってるはず。このまま放っておいた場合、最悪かがりさんの人格は崩壊よ。
Suzuha slammed her fists into her knees in frustration.
それを防ぐ手立てはあると思うか？
かがりさんの頭の中からクリスの記憶を取り除くしかないでしょうね。
できそうか？
脳のデータが解析できれば、あるいはでもできるようになるとしても何年先か。
Suzuha's fists were clenched so tightly I could almost hear the sound. I could tell she was blaming herself for letting Kagari run away.
一つ手があるとするなら、もう一度 過去のかがりさんの記憶を上書きすることかしら。
もう一度記憶を。
Oh?
そもそもかがりさんの記憶を操作した人間はかがりさんの記憶を残すつもりはなかったと思うの。
She might have been right. Putting two sets of memories in one mind was just asking for problems. Which means that the experiments they'd done on her had resulted in a different outcome than they'd intended. In a sense, they had failed.
だったらもう一度かがりさんの記憶をきちんとした装置で脳に上書きしてあげれば、あるいは元通りにできるかもしれない。
しかしそのためにはかがりの記憶データがないと。
バックアップが取ってあることを期待するしかないわね。
Alright, so the plan at this point is find whoever did this originally, find the data of Kagari's mind, and then just, like, boot it back into her? The issue is that step one is already super fucking complicated.
装置はどうする？簡単に見つかればいいけど。ないなら作ればいいわ。
そんな簡単に。
でもクリスは
Hi
作れたん
Souls,
でし
welcome to
ょ。
the stream. Oh, right. It had to work similarly to the time leap machine.
だったら私にも作れる。作ってみせる。
I might be able to help with that.
問題は記憶データがどこにあるかね。こればっかりは何とかして突き止めるしか方法がないわ。
But there simply wasn't enough information. All we knew was that it was a non-Japanese Western military. And that information wasn't solid either. If anyone held the key, it was the woman in the motorcycle suit. I thought of a name and quickly brushed it from my mind.
何かいい方法でも思いついた？
Advertising? What do you mean, 100th Assassin?
いや、なんでもない。
It wasn't Yuki Amane. It couldn't be. We talked late into the night trying to come up with a way to find out who had done the experiments on Kagari. But even though we spent a lot of time on it, none of us had any good ideas. My phone just picked up my voice and auto-sent that. Okay.
信じられない。
Interesting. Oh, we're looking from Maho's perspective again. Nice.
でも本当なのよね。
On the train back, Maho Hyaja was having trouble controlling her excitement. Two girls who said they came from the future, and Rintaro Okabe's story about the time leap machine. Normally, she'd never believe them. But if Kurisu Makise's mind had made these things possible, she could accept them. Kurisu was a genius. She might just be capable of it. To Maho, Kurisu seemed capable of anything. And most of all, she'd seen it for herself. On the way back from the lab, Susaha had taken her to the top of the radio building and showed her a real time machine. Stein Aldegates! Hi, Rianu Keeves, welcome to the stream! It was night, and she didn't have a lot of time to look at it closely. She could tell at a glance that it wasn't made with modern technology. Honestly, she wanted to start work on making another one tomorrow. No, right now even. That's a bad idea! That's a really bad idea, Maho! But she had something to do first. Okay, just a sec. Are you about to go and tell Dr. Leskinen? You better not be about to tell Dr. Leskinen! The time leap machine that Kurisu had made. She needed to make an improved version. That meant she was going to be practically living at Okabe's lab for a while. So she decided to get what she needed from the office in Wako City. Okay. Okay, we're just going there. From outside the building, she could see that the lights were still on despite the late hour.
Maho!
As soon as she got inside, Dr. Leskinen rushed over, his face pale. Huh?
何これ
The room had clearly been ransacked. Oh, God. Of course, the place barely had anything in it to begin with, so with a quick glance, it was hard to see what had changed. But Maho and Dr. Leskinen's desks had clearly been searched. The drawers had been locked, but the locks had been broken and their contents spilled out. Dr. Reyes hadn't brought much of anything, fortunately, so she'd escaped with very little damage, but her drawers had been dumped out too.
これは何があったんですか
何者かが侵入したらしいんだ。
泥棒ってことですか
私が来た時にはこの状態だったの。もしかしたら企業スパイの類かもしれないわね。
こんな何もないところで
Wouldn't it make more sense to hit the Riken Institute next door? Only a few people even knew this office existed to begin with. Suddenly, Okabe's words began to take on a new meaning for her. Could this have something to do with what he'd said? Was a secret war over the time machine already beginning?
とにかく魔法、君も何か盗まれていないか調べたまえ。
はい
God, Maho is having one hell of a day.
どうだい、何か取られていたものはあったかい？
いえ私の方は何も
She checked the desk and the drawers and couldn't find a single thing missing.
教授たちは
こちらも何も盗まれてはいないようだわ。
PC の中も確かめてみたが、第三者にアクセスされた形跡は見られない。本当に何も取られてないかい？
はい
そういえば魔法、君のノート PC はどうした？もしかして盗まれたんじゃないか？
あああれならホテルに置いてあるから大丈夫です。
そうか、ならいいんだが。
どうする？警察に連絡する？
何も取られていないなら、ことを荒立てる必要はないのかもしれないな。
そうね。少し様子を見ましょうか。
Maho wasn't sure that was a good idea, but she could understand that going to the police might be a big hassle, especially since they weren't Japanese to begin with. And more than anything, Dr. Leskinen probably didn't want to lose time that could be spent on research. The same was true of Maho, too.
教授実はお願いがあるんです。
Dr. Leskinen agreed to give her a vacation much more readily than she'd expected. Maybe coming to the office over New Year's had paid off. Now she'd be able to focus on the time leap machine. Once she got back to her hotel room, she quickly got her things ready. Her room looks like mine. Just clothes everywhere, shit all over the desk. A suitcase just thrown wherever. Complex controls just reminded me of the Gothic series and its 9+ step procedure just to open a treasure chest. Oh man. I'd never be able to remember that.
Yes.
Wait, I think I missed something. She wasn't checking out of the hotel, but she needed clothes and other things so she could stay at the lab for a while.
あとは
Once she finished packing her bag, she grabbed another bag that was placed next to it. It was a laptop and portable hard drive that she'd gotten from Kurisu's mother after her death. Is that maybe what the thief was after? Because, I mean, if they're trying to bring back Kurisu and they're trying to basically get any information that Kurisu had about time machines, surely her laptop would be one of the, one of the holy grails in that quest. She tried many times to crack the password, but never managed to succeed. She knew that she wouldn't have time to do anything with it, but she still didn't want to leave it here.
そうだわ確か彼
After she made one last check of her things and got ready to leave the room, an idea came to her. Not a bad idea, if I do say so myself. Maybe this is what Kurisu wanted? She quickly shook her head and chased the idea from her mind. Kurisu would get mad at her. Life and death were like a binary, 0 and 1. You could be one or the other. There was no will that existed after death. If it existed at all, it existed inside the brain. Huh. Alright, back to Okabe. Every time that screen pops up and we go back to Okabe, I just think of the pizza tower thing where you switch from Gustavo back to Peppino, where it's like, alright, back to this guy. And it's just fucking Peppino as a little bug. That's what I think of every time we go back to Okabe. Several days passed and I still had no idea who had planted the memories in Kaguri's head. I went all the way out to talk to the priest who'd found her and even questioned the locals in the surrounding area, but I had no luck. Susaha seemed to be doing her own research. She hadn't been back to the lab since then. She was in touch with Daru at regular intervals, so I didn't think she was in danger. I asked Tenyoji and Moeka again, but neither of them seemed to have any luck. In this world line, the lab hadn't even been attacked, which meant they might be up to something else. Even if they were, I had no way of even imagining what it was. But I was sure that someone had kidnapped a young Kagari Shina and experimented on her, and only recently had she escaped. They had to be planning something, and I was sure it was bad. We didn't have time to wait for them to act. But without any clues, there was nothing we could do. My mind kept going in circles, and I kept getting more frustrated and nervous with every minute.
すみません、真帆先輩。私のために。あと少しでできそうだから。それに、これは私のためでもあるんだし。
Maho staggered out of the development room, sank into the sofa, and smiled sleepily. There were dark spots under her eyes. For the last few days, she'd been working on the device without any sleep. Her work needed to pay off soon, as fast as possible.
それにしても、携帯電話を使うだなんて普通考えないわ。たとえ考えついたとしても、実行に移そうなんて思わない。
携帯は話すときにどうしても受話器をこめかみ付近に近づける必要があるからな。
I mean, not necessarily. When I take a phone call, I just put it on speaker because I'm usually alone in my apartment. Either that or I have Bluetooth earbuds in, but I guess at the time that this game was made, that would have been true.
こめかみ周辺には大脳前頭葉と大脳側頭葉がありますからね。側頭葉の海馬傍回が記憶を貯蓄する場所だと考えると妥当な判断かと。問題はどうやって記憶を圧縮させるかよね。
それについては、なんか僕が毎日徹夜で頑張ってるわけだが。
すまないな、ダル。
しかもハッキングがここからだって絶対にバレないようになんて言うから大変だっつーの。他のバイトだってあるのにさ。
To compress the memories, we needed CERN's LHC no matter what. And we'll look into that. LHC, an abbreviation of Large Hadron Collider, which is an experimental device used to cause charged particles to collide and study the results. Built by CERN and located 100 meters below the ground in Geneva, Switzerland, it is the world's largest ring-shaped particle accelerator. Its total length is 27 kilometers. Many different teams, including one from Japan, use the device to perform experiments. The reason it's a ring is that when charged particles pass through an electromagnetic field, the Lorentz force causes them to bend. Interesting. That one took a lot of thought. If we made an enemy out of CERN, that tragedy I'd gone through before would repeat. But the main reason that CERN had attacked us was the D-mails we'd sent to the past. If it weren't for that, they probably wouldn't have bothered. And since we weren't sending D-mails, CERN would probably never even detect us. Probably. Yeah, that's a big probably there, Okabe! That's a big fucking probably! Fortunately, Susaha had the IBN 5100 that we needed for the hack. Things were coming together better than I'd expected. And that means it's about to go real bad.
彼女、 ほんと別人みたいなんですけど。
あ
I nodded at Daru. For the past few days, more of Kurisu's memories had been invading Kagari's mind. Lately, she'd even started discussing complex technical subjects with Maho. She was acting just like Kurisu used to when she lived in America. At first, Maho seemed put off, but she eventually adapted. Maho probably wanted to get details about the device from Kurisu, so it seemed to be helping. I guess there is a benefit to it.
こんなラボで本当にタイムリープマシンを作ってたなんて、実際にタイムマシンを目にした今でも信じられないわ。でも人間の記憶を丸ごとデータ化して過去に飛ばすなんて発想はすごいですよね。さすがは真帆先輩。その言葉、そっくりそのままあなたに返してあげるわ。はい？あなたは天才で、所詮私はサリエリだったってことよ。
Watching the two of them, it was easy to fool myself into thinking that it was Maho and Kurisu talking.
なあかがり。
そうだ、アマデウスで思い出しましたけど、プロジェクトはどうなってるんですか？残念ながら凍結されたわ。
かがり。
凍結？どうして？もしかしてレスキネン教授が決めたんですか？私にもわからないわ。教授はもっと上からの指示だって言ってたけど。そんな、せっかく順調に言ってたのに。
なあクリス。
はい？
Ooh. Oh, damn.
あれ？私、今。
君はかがり。椎名かがりだよな。
椎名かがり。そう、私は椎名かがり。私は。
Kagari suddenly put her hands up to her head, afraid.
でも、それじゃあ、これは。この頭の中にある記憶は何？
それはマキセクリスの記憶だ。君の記憶じゃない。
そんなこと言われてもわかんないよ。
Kagari was acting completely different now than she was just a moment ago with Maho. She raised her voice like a child throwing a tantrum.
だって私にとっては私の記憶でしかないんだもん。マユリンママたちとの記憶も、子供の頃のパパとの記憶も、アメリカの大学での出来事も全部私の中にあるんだもん。どれが本当でどれか嘘かなんて私わかんないよ。
Yeah, that is kind of, you know, if you're calling this a tantrum, I think that this is the most, like, reasonable, understandable tantrum that has ever been thrown on the planet. Her words turned to sobs. I could understand how she felt. From her perspective, it was all real. None of it was fake. It was easy to tell her to get a hold of herself, but it wasn't that easy for her to actually do it. I remembered what Kurisu had said when she'd finished the time leap machine. She'd said you could never put your memories inside someone else's mind. It would destroy their personality. But if, just if we were to leave Kagari like this, what would happen? There was a chance that her own memories would disappear and only Kurisu's would remain. If that happened, who would the person in front of me become? Would they be Kagari? Or would they be Kurisu? If it was Kurisu... That wasn't true. It was impossible. I couldn't even think about it. But the more I thought, the more I felt a horrible idea tugging at my mind, no matter how much I tried to ignore it. No, this is what I was talking about last episode! Or last stream or whatever. There's a single stuffed toy in protest, which she picks back up right after. Okay. Okabe, you better not be thinking of doing the thing that I just congratulated you for not doing last time!
私、どうしたらいいの？
It would have been great if Mayuri was around. But unfortunately, both she and Lukako had gone to school. Both of them were worried about Kagari and told me to contact them if anything came up, but that didn't mean that I could rely on them all the time.
かがりたん、ちょっと気分転換に散歩でもしてきたらどう？
See, I'm worried about that, because, I mean, as Okabe has mentioned a couple of times now, the other shoe hasn't dropped in this timeline yet. And until it does, at any moment, some shit could go down.
そうね。人間じっとしてると余計なこと考えちゃうものよ。少しくらい体を動かした方がいいかもしれないわね。
というわけでオカリン、かがりたんを頼んだ。
わかった。
The two of us walked out to Central Street together, but we didn't really have anything to do. Sure, reinventing the time machine leads to many horrible deaths, but it sure warms up a mean instant ramen. The air outside must have made her feel a little better because Kagari was starting to calm down.
その、どこか行きたいところあるかな？
どこでもいいの？
ああ、君の行きたいところでいい。
それじゃあ、クリスさんと行ったところに連れてってほしい。
え？
オカリンさんがクリスさんと歩いたことのある場所に連れて行って。
Somewhere I'd been with Kurisu. Where could that be? The coin laundry in the neighborhood? Horin Park? Yudon Sambo? Hadn't spent a lot of time with her at fun or romantic places. I'd spent a lot of time with her, but most of it had disappeared into many different world lines. I'd gone through that time again and again, but most of it had just been spent arguing and working with her at the lab. We'd never spent any time going to places to have fun. And we'd never made it to Aomori either.
オカリンさんがクリスさんと初めて会ったのはどこ？
Maybe we shouldn't bring you there.
初めて会った場所。
私、そこに行きたい。
The place where Kurisu and I had met. It was...
ここが？
Yep. Okabe, you can lie to her! You don't have to do this to yourself, buddy! A brightly colored building in front of Akihabara Station. The radio building. This was where it started. Yes, this is where everything had begun. On that day, the time machine appeared on the roof of the building. It was just after that when I met Kurisu. I could still remember it. The challenging look in her eyes. Thinking back, I may have already fallen in love with her then. But even though this was the place where I'd met her, this was also the place where I'd...
オカリンさん、どうしたの？
すまない。
Lately, I'd been so busy with Kagari that I'd started to think I was getting a little better. But maybe I wasn't. Or maybe you're just, like, quite literally... You... Like, the word trigger has been so fucking misused by the internet. But that is genuinely what's happening here. You are just triggering yourself. You're triggering your PTSD. Of course you're not feeling better.
汗すごい。
Uh...
ごめん。もしかして私のせい？
いや、そうじゃないんだ。ただ。
Whenever I came here, I couldn't help but remember what happened that day. But...
行こう。
いいの？具合悪いんでしょ？
This is not a good idea, dude. Look after your mental health, please. I mean, I know it's Japan in the early 2010s. Like, yes, I understand. but also, dude, please. I couldn't just stand out here forever. I couldn't keep Mayuri, Daru, and the others worrying forever. If I needed to get over it at some point, then this isn't going to make you get over it, dude. That's not how it works.
わかった。それじゃ、行こう。
Something soft touched my hand. Kagari was holding my hand tightly in hers.
ありがとう。
Kagari led me down the bustling street towards the radio building. My knees felt like they were about to give out at any second. Even after I'd gone inside, I was still doing better than I had thought I would. But I still didn't feel like climbing the stairs where it had happened. We took the elevator to the roof. Ferris, aka Rumiho Akiha, had carefully locked the door to the roof so that no one who wasn't authorized could enter. I'd been given a key too, but today was the first time I was able to use it. The first thing I saw after coming onto the roof was a strangely shaped object. The time machine.
懐かしい。これ。私、これに乗ってきたんだよ。
Kagari happily ran up to the time machine. It was right after she'd separated from Suzuha that she'd lost her memories. She remembered going from the future to this place in 1975.
初めてこのビルの上に降りた時にね、お空がすっごく綺麗でびっくりしたの。
Unfortunately, it wasn't very pretty right now. But Kagari spoke as if there was an endless blue sky stretching out in front of us.
私、ママと別れるのが嫌で、ずっとこのマシンの中で泣いてた。ママに会いたいよって。そんなことじゃダメだ。いつまでも泣くんじゃないって、鈴葉お姉ちゃんに言われて、それでも悲しくて。そんな時に開いたハッチの外に見えたのが青い空だったの。
My chat keeps disconnecting. I really hope that there aren't any issues with the stream for you guys. Give me just a sec. I'm just gonna check on this real quick. Okay, it's saying that my connection is still excellent, so here's hoping. Here's hoping there aren't any issues. I kind of have to cover up the thing that tells me if the stream is doing well with the chat, so I haven't been able to really keep an eye on it.
2036年の空は青くないのか？
うん。戦争の影響でね、ずっと黒くて暗い空。それに、外にもなかなか出してもらえないし。
The mid-70s were right after the big economic growth spurt. Ecological concerns weren't as important as they are now. That was also when air pollution was a really big deal. The air probably wasn't as clean as it is now. If it seemed beautiful to her anyway, then that must have meant that the air in the future was really terrible.
オカリンさんはここでクリスさんと初めて会ったの？
いや、ここじゃない。ここは。
お。
A cold drop hit my nose.
降ってきちゃった。
ああ、そうだな。
That's right.
岡部か。
生きてたか。
そっか。ここだとあんたと会っちゃう可能性があること忘れてた。
何をしていたんだ？
考え事。
そうか。
Right, because this is a scene that happened in the first game, right? The rain had been falling then, too. When she'd learned that either she or Mayuri was fated to die, she'd come here and look at the sky like this.
すごい降ってきたよ。オカリンさん、中に。オカリンさん？
What had she been thinking then? When she'd entrusted her fate to another person, to me.
オカリンさんたら、このままじゃ風邪ひいちゃうよ。早くこっちに。
Ha! Typo in the visual novel! Typo in the visual novel, get their ass! Kagari dragged me inside, away from the noise of the falling rain. A few moments later, I found myself sitting there. The place was being renovated and none of the stores were open. The lights were off too, and it made the place seem very gloomy.
びっくり。
That day, after the rain, Kurisu and I had leaned up against each other and talked. And this was also the place where...
ここだよ。ここが俺とクリスが初めて会った場所だ。
Strictly speaking, this is where I'd first met her in the Beta World line. That day, half a year ago.
さっき私に何を言おうとしたんですか？
さっきとはいつのことだ？
ほんの15分くらい前、会見が始まる前に。私に何か言おうとしましたよね。すごく悲しそうな顔をして。まるで今にも泣き出しそうで、それにすごく辛そうでした。どうして？私、前にあなたと会ったことありますか？
Man. Thinking back, that was the beginning of everything. I wished I'd never met her. If only I'd have known this would be the result. If I'd never met her, I wouldn't have to feel this way.
オカリンさん。
I felt something soft touch my face.
カガリ。
私が怖がっていると、ママがよくこうしてくれたの。
どうして？
だって、オカリンさん、すごく辛そうで、今にも泣き出しそうなんだもん。
Kagari patted me on the head again and again, as if I were a child.
あいつとクリスと初めて会ったのはここだった。
ここって、この踊り場？
あ、最初の印象は最悪。初めて会ったっていうのに上から目線だわ、睨みつけてくるわで可愛さのかけらもなかった。もっとも向こうだってそう思ってただろうけどな。
After all, at the time I was rambling about nonsense like organization agents.
でも、それでも、クリスさんはオカリンさんにとって大切な人になった。
あ、
That was in the Alpha World line, though. Right after I'd met Kurisu in this one, she'd...
私の顔ってクリスさんによく似てるんだよね。
どうしてそれを？
真帆さんから聞いたの。
I think I just heard her, like, correct herself. Like, I don't understand Japanese, but I thought I heard her go, Maho-san. That's a nice touch. I like that.
それでネットで調べてみたんだけど、自分でもびっくりするくらい似てた。そんな人の記憶が私の中にあるなんて、それも運命なのかなって。
Fate. It always was. Fate laughed at us. It toyed with us.
ねえ、もしも。
A drop of rain down Kagari's hair ran down Kagari's hair and hit the floor.
もしもね、椎名かがりの記憶がなくなって、完全にクリスさんの記憶に入れ替わるとしたら、そしたら、私は牧瀬クリスになっちゃうのかな。
そう簡単にいくものじゃないよ。
Because yeah, it really isn't that simple.
でも、もしもだよ。もしもそうなるなら、オカリンさんは嬉しい？私がクリスさんになったら、オカリンさんは嬉しい？
It was the voice of the demon I tried so many times to ignore.
俺は
I didn't want that. Or did I?
でも私はやっぱり嫌だな。
Another drop of rain struck the floor.
このまま自分がどうやって生きてきたのかもわからないまま、誰からも必要とされないまま消えちゃうなんて。
かがり。
私どうなっちゃうのかな。私は
Kagari was shaking a little. It wasn't just because of the cold.
ごめん。
いや、
I never did figure out what she was apologizing for.
このままじゃ風邪をひく。そろそろ帰ろう。
とにかく上がってください。
The first time I went into Lukako's room, it really did look like a girl's room.
うわあ、二人ともずぶ濡れ。急いで着替えなきゃ。
Yanabayashi Shrine was closer to the radio building than the lab, so I decided to bring Kagari there. Mayuri had sent me a message on the way, so I had her come here first. I figured that Kagari needed Mommy Mayuri right now more than she needed me.
ママ。
Just like I thought, the second she saw Mayuri's face, she relaxed a little.
寒かったでしょ。
お風呂沸かしてきますね。
Lukako handed us towels to wipe away the rain, and ran out of the room to start the bath.
お風呂ママと一緒がいい。
That's random.
いいよ。あ、
Oh god, this better not lead to another shower
Kagari,
scene like in the first game.
いや、俺はいい。かがりを先に入れてやってくれ。
ありがとう。オカリンも風邪ひいちゃうから、着替えだけでもしてね。
なんとかする。
Yeah, because I don't think he has a change of clothes here. Maybe I could borrow Lukako's father's clothes? Just as I got up to leave the
かが
room.
りちゃん？どうしたの？かがりちゃん。
Something was wrong with Kagari. She was staring at Mayuri's face, confused.
かがり？
誰？
Uh-oh.
あなたは誰？
マユシーだよ。かがりちゃん。
かがり。私の名前？
かがり。
違う。私は誰なの？私は。
Fuck. Kagari tore at her hair and let loose a cry that sounded like it came from the pits of hell.
しっかりしろかがり。
痛いよママ。助けて。パパ、助けて。誰か助けて。私を助けてよ。誰か助け。
Oh fuck. She was like a puppet whose strings had been cut. All the strength left her body and she fell forward. By the time I left Lukako's house, the rain had stopped. We waited for a while after that, but Kagari showed no signs of waking up. She looked peaceful as she was sleeping, so I decided to leave her to Mayuri and Lukako and head back to the lab. According to the two of them, she'd gotten confused several times in the past. But never like this. We might have underestimated how dangerous her situation really was. Her brain was probably under a lot of stress already. We needed a way to deal with this, and now. But for that... Well, I'm glad we have a little bit of good news here. The second I opened the door, I heard Daru and Maho yelling.
本当か
I ran inside without even taking the time to remove my shoes.
おかりん、なんつうグッドタイミング。
岡部さん、びしょ濡れじゃない。
そんなことはどうでもいい。それよりも、やったのか
むふ。
Daru gave me a thumbs up. Hell yeah.
でかしたダル
スーパーハッカーなのだぜ。これくらい当然だっつーの。
He could say that, but I knew exactly how much talent and effort it took to hack CERN. Your average hacker couldn't do it. The name Super Hacker wasn't just for show.
ヒヤジョウさんはヒヤジョウさんの方も完成したのか
私だってこれくらいどうってことなかったわ。
Maho stuck her thumb up just like Daru had.
さ
Cute.
すがだな
まあこれも全部あなたやかがりさんから情報を得られたからなんだけど、そういう意味ではかがりさんの中にクリスの記憶が残っていて助かったわね。
いやそれでも完成させたのはヒヤジョウさんの力だ。
ありがとう。その言葉素直に受け取っておくわ。あとは実際にきちんと機能するかどうかが問題だけど、こればっかりは試してみるわけにもいかないのよね。
そうだな。
僕はキッチン二郎3回な。
What is Kitchen Jiro? Okay, I guess we get a tip on this. Kitchen Jiro, a restaurant chain found in downtown Tokyo as well as Kansai. It has a popular combo menu that offers a large amount of delicious food. In addition to the restaurants, it also offers a delivery service. So it's kind of like St. Hubert's up in Canada. Or like, I don't know, is this like the Japanese equivalent of fucking like Boston Pizza? Or like any of those like chain restaurants where it's like the food is almost definitely microwaved and like prepackaged, but it still tastes good, so you just keep going there anyways, and it's affordable, so it's like fuck it, might as well. You know, you go to a different city and you're like, oh, we have to get something for dinner, and of course it's not like you know any of the local restaurants, you don't know any of like the family places that are actually good, so you're like, oh yeah, let's just go to this one. I'm assuming that's what Kitchen Jiro is for like Japanese people. Sure thing. Anyway, everything was ready. All that was left was to find out who they were. But that was still the biggest problem.
それじゃ私はちょっと眠らせてもらうわ。さすがに疲れる。
The sound of a ringing phone cut her off.
もう誰よ。人がこれから寝ようって時に。はい、もしもし。
She muttered to herself as she took the phone to the back of the development room.
で、かがりたんの方はどうなん？
それなんだが。
Just as I spoke, a Ryan message arrived. We got a quick save. Kagari woke up. She's calmed down. I let out a small sigh of relief and sent back an answer. Got it. Sorry, can you look after her for a while? I'll contact you if I need you.
実はあまり良くない。今日なんて真由里のことすら分からなくなった。
マジで？
それだけじゃない。その後ひどい頭痛を訴えて意識を失った。
それまずくね？
Very bad. It's very bad.
まずいな。なんとかしないと。
But unless we knew who we were up against, there was nothing we could do.
本当ですか？
Daru and I exchanged glances at the sudden voice from the development room.
マホタン、どうしたん？
何かあったのか？
When we looked inside, Maho turned around in a state of
殺され
shock.
たって。私の借りてたホテルの部屋。
Ooh. The call was from the hotel. Maho was staying at a business hotel in Wako City. Sometime in the past few days while she'd been staying here, someone had ransacked it. She left her keycard with the front desk, but there were signs that the lock had been picked. She'd just given her okay to search the room.
それで詳しい状況は分かったのか？
今から警察に連絡するから、何が盗まれてるか調べるためにも早く戻ってこいって。
じゃあ何が取られたかわからんってこと？もしかして下着とかも？
God damn it, Daru!
そういうのは全部持ってきてるわよ。セクハラで訴えましょうか？
うひー、それだけは勘弁。
Then maybe you should stop.
私の部屋って普段から散らかってるから荒らされてるように見えただけって可能性もある。楽観的に考えればね。鍵が開けられてたって言うから誰かが入ったのは間違いないでしょうけど、実はついこの間もオフィスの方が荒らされたことがあって。
じゃあ単なる偶然じゃないな。何者かがヒヤジョーさんの持っている何かを探しているんだ。
そうね。でも何を探しているのかは見当がついてるわ。
なんだ？
クリスのノート PC よ。
あれか。
Putting all the pieces together, it seemed like the most likely option. I could be sure that whoever tried to overwrite Kaguri's memories was the same group that attacked her in the other world line. Whoever those people were, they were after the time machine theory hidden in Kurisu's memories. But since their experiments had failed and Kaguri had escaped, they turned their attention to the other thing Kurisu had left behind. The laptop and hard drive that Maho had. But if they were after that, did that mean they had it now?
つかその PC ってこの前マホタンが僕に託したやつ？
何？
実はね、どうしてもパスワードを解析したくてここに困るようになってから橋田さんにお願いしたの。
それじゃあノート PC は？
無事のはずよ。ね。
もちろん今は僕の秘密のアジトにあるのだぜ。つってもずっとセルンのハッキングにかかりきりだったからまだパスワードは解析できてないけどね。
That made me feel a lot better. Now, if only we knew who had broken into her room. But it wouldn't be that easy. Still, if they'd done something like that, they must be starting to panic. What would they do next? Wait a second.
もしかしたらこれは使えるかもしれない。
使えるって？
What? Oh my god. You're gonna use it as bait, aren't ya? I didn't want to waste time explaining, so I just took out my phone and made the call. Several days later, Kaguri's condition was getting worse. Oh. Uh-oh. Staccato footsteps echoed through the darkness. Akihabara got quiet early. The ever-busy electronics stores, the concert halls that were filled with cheers, and the coffee shops that were full of laughter. All that gave way to silence as soon as night fell. A single set of footsteps walked slowly through the silence, never breaking rhythm. They belonged to a girl. It was dark, and so it was hard to see her clearly. But it was very clear that she was acting strange. She had a cap pulled down over her face and was trying to avoid letting anyone see her as she walked. As if she was hiding from someone. As if someone was chasing her. And just as she was about to turn a corner, several men jumped out in front of her. The girl stopped in surprise. Suddenly there were men behind her too. One of the men spoke. His Japanese was fluent, but if she'd listened carefully, she might have detected a trace of a foreign accent. The girl they called Kagari was helpless as they surrounded her. One of the men thought to himself, "This is the easiest job in the world." All they had to do was kidnap a single helpless-looking girl. There was no need to bring this many people. No, it wasn't just him. Almost everyone there felt the same way.
おとなしくしていれば手荒な真似はしない。
The men gradually began to close in. The girl simply stood there afraid and showed no signs of resistance. This was too easy. Just as the man smiled and reached out his hand... Damn! He thought he heard the sound of something slicing through the air, and then he fell to the ground clutching his hand. It looked like 3 sausages lying on the ground. Before they realized that the sausages were the man's fingers, another man went down from a high kick to the head. The men began to howl in rage.
You fucking bitch!
Okay! They leapt at the girl, swearing, but... One of the men who was trying to attack her from behind suddenly screamed.
おいおい、静かにしな。
Is that
あん
Tenyoji?
まりうるさくすると、おめえらも困るんじゃねえのか?
A huge man came out of the darkness, silhouetted by the moon. All right. Okay, I was about to say, like, are we not explaining that? Hell yeah! That was all I could say as I watched these tough men go down one after the other. I knew from his size that Tenyoji was strong. It was the other girl that really shocked me. Her disguise ruined, Suzuha jumped around like a cat. Each time she moved, the men around her quivered. Yeah, because underneath the coat, I saw that it kind of looked like Suzuha's sweater underneath. That's really fun. Because I was about to, like, my first thought was, oh fuck. Like, when they implanted memories into Kagari, like, there's no saying that Kurisu's were the only ones. They could just be the ones that are resurfacing now because so many people are talking about Kurisu and she's, like, being led to things that trigger those memories from her. But, so my thought was that the person, like, the woman doing the fighting in the beginning was Kagari, but they had just, like, put different memories into her so that this way, whenever she was in, like, a combat situation, she would just go fucking nuts. But I guess it makes more sense that this is just part of the plan. Each time she moved, the men around her quivered. I knew she'd undergone I knew she'd undergone combat training, but I had no idea she was this strong when she was serious. The kicks from her long, lithe legs were a work of art. I mean, yeah, she's a cyclist. She has strong fucking legs. Cute. The men fell to the ground without even having the time to draw their knives and guns. Several days earlier, when I realized that the enemy was probably starting to panic, I came up with a plan. In the last world line, Moeka had told me that someone was looking for Kagari. I wondered if that was true in this world line too. So I asked Moeka to leak some information for me. A girl matching Kagari Shina's description came down this road at the same time every day. And today, a few days later, they'd all taken the bait. I hung back behind the corner of an alley, watching them fight. I felt kind of pathetic. But it was obvious that not only would I be of no help whatsoever, it'd actually just get in the way. So it was smarter to leave it to them. I heard Daru's voice from the earphone in one of my ears. I'd called him and left the call connected so we could talk at any time. Daru had been opposed to Suzuha's plan to use herself as a decoy. He must have been worried about putting his daughter in danger.
心配いらない。お前の娘は想像よりずっとすごいよ。
そりゃ僕の娘だからね。でも傷物になんかされたらおかりん。一生恨むからな。
He'd be better off worrying about the people she was fighting. I suddenly heard a high-pitched whistle. At the signal, the men started to turn and run. They'd realized they'd fallen into a trap and decided to retreat.
おっと、そうはいくかよ。
Tenyoji's giant arms wrapped around one of the men's hands, but there was a hollow popping sound, and the man's body went limp. No way. He was dead? He took his own life?
おじさん、そっち！
A piercing yell brought me back to my senses. One of the men was coming towards the alley where I was hiding. Our goal was to capture them and make them tell us who they were working for. If we couldn't do that, all of this would be for nothing. I ran out in front of the man without even thinking. My sudden appearance caused him to hesitate for a moment, but he kept charging without dropping his speed. I saw that he was holding on to something shiny near his waist. Just as he hit me, Suzuha slammed into him with a jump kick.
おっと！
The kick knocked him directly into Tenyoji's waiting arms. Tenyoji caught him easily, then spun the man's arms around his back so he couldn't hurt himself.
おじさん、怪我は？大丈夫？
Huh? Oh god, did you get stabbed? Did Okame get stabbed again?
なんともない。
Okay, okay.
オカリン、どうした？何があった？
心配するな。こっちはみんな無事だ。それより鈴葉、奴は？
Something like a scream came out of his mouth. At some point, Tenyoji had jammed what looked like a towel into it. He was probably trying to keep him from killing himself like the last guy.
おいおい、あんまり暴れるんじゃねえよ。騒ぎになって困るのはおめえもだろうが。それにまだ1本目だぜ。情けねえ。あとまだ9本も残ってる。
Damn, dude!
それが終わったら目だ。それから両方の耳、鼻。まだまだお楽しみはいっぱいあるんだぜ。
Holy shit, dude! His voice was cold. This was the real Tenyoji. This was FB. I wanted to look away, but Suzuha was watching without flinching in the slightest.
俺だって面倒な真似はしたくねえ。どうせ吐くんなら早めに吐いた方がお互いのためだと思うぜ。
Holy fuck, dude!
ん？どうだ？もう一本行くか。
The man shook his head violently.
最初からそうすりゃいいんだよ。で、おめえさんたちの元締めは誰だ
？Tenyoji took the towel out of the man's mouth. He said something in a whisper so small I couldn't hear it. Tenyoji's pallor suddenly changed.
ストラト4？
Stratfor, fictional. Official name Strategic Focus. An American civilians intelligence company, sometimes called the Shadow CIA. It has its own independent intelligence network that it uses to gather and analyze security information from around the globe, and many famous companies and military organizations sit on its board of advisors. They are a for-profit company with completely different ideals and policies from groups like Anonymous, who crack classified information, or WikiLeaks, which publishes public interest information from whistleblowers. There is a real information brokerage company named Strategic Forecasting Inc., based out of Texas. This company bears no relationship whatsoever with Strategic Focus. All right, thank you for clarifying that, game.
冗談じゃねえだろな。
The man desperately shook his head again.
ストラト4か。また面倒な奴らが。
Stratfor. I'd heard of them. Back when I was into conspiracy theories, I'd looked them up on the internet. Their real name was Strategic Focus, I think. They were an American civilian intelligence company, sometimes called the Shadow CIA. So now we're going to learn about the CIA. An abbreviation used by the American Central Intelligence Agency. The CIA reports directly to the president. They engage in spying, intelligence gathering, and political manipulation in foreign nations to guarantee America's security. They are said to have been involved in many major historical events. They specialized in military matters, and their skills had supposedly been put to good use during the Iraq and Gulf Wars. If a certain rounder like Tenyoji said they were a problem, they probably were. This wasn't going to be easy. But now wasn't a time for being scared. Don't say that out loud in front of the bad guy! Fuck, like go somewhere else. Be a little more secretive, please.
Okie dokie!
I felt myself starting to relax after I completed my first objective, but there wasn't time for that. This was where things really began.
どうしたの店長。何か気にかかることでも。
いや、ストラトフォーといや民間の会社だぜ。いわば金によって雇われてる連中だ。そんな奴らがいくら捕まったからって自決までするか？
He's got a point. I didn't think of it like that before. It did seem strange, come to think of it.
おい、おめえ本当に
Tenyoji tried to wring the man's neck again, but...
気を失ってやがる。だらしねえやつだ。
Tenyoji sighed and took out a rope, then started to tie him up.
後始末は俺に任せて。おめえらは行け。
When you say clean this up, I would like you to, elaborate a little bit on what you mean by this. What do you mean, clean this up?
いいんですか？
これで終わりじゃねえんだろ。
I was a little curious what he intended to do with them, but...
わかりました。後のことはお願いします。
I had other priorities right now. I said my thanks to Tenyoji and hurried to the lab with Suzuha.
おじさん、早く。
わかってる。
Suzuha ran through the night like a panther. It was all I could do to keep up. The path to the lab seemed far longer than it usually did. We finally made it to the lab. Mayuri, Ferris, and everyone else were already there waiting. And Kagari, too. Kagari was lying on the couch in obvious pain. Her breathing was shallow. Her complexion was pale. Something bad could happen to her at any moment. Oh, who the heck is calling me? Sorry. Oh, wait. Okay, sorry, just a sec. Sorry about that. Got a random, fucking spam call. I've been trying to take any calls that I get from now on just because, I mean, I never know why, I never know what might be a call about a job or something, so I know that it's like almost 8 o'clock where I am, so that wasn't very likely, but it's like on the off chance, in the possibility that it was some kind of job offer, I didn't want to miss that call. Why isn't she just called Kurisin too? God damn it.
ちょい待ち。前にハッキングかけた時のルートがあるから今探ってる。
前にって お前、そんな危険なことをしてたのか。
Why did you... Why? Daru?
ちょっとね、友達と賭けでね、どっちが早くハックできるか勝負したんだ。ゴーゴーカレー1年分。
Dude! Any call at 7 a.m. or 8 p.m. are people asking to buy your house? My answer is always the same, $100 million. See, unfortunately, I haven't gotten that one yet. I just get fucking text-to-speech voices that go, "This is the government of Canada. We have detected that you are doing many crimes. If you would like to not... If you would like to not suffer for these crimes, please send us Amazon gift cards." And... It's never anything cool. Either that or it's Bell Canada calling me, despite the fact that every time that they call me, I say, "Why are you calling me? I don't use Bell," and they hang up instantly every fucking time. It's like, bro, make a note. Make a note somewhere. Put me on a list of people to not call. You never get anything out of me. You get the same words every time, the same 2 sentences. I'm not switching to Bell. Fuck off. Even if I did, aren't they just like a phone company? Don't make a noise. Don't make a note. Make an ear screeching, piercing screech in response. Great. Having fried chicken, corn on cob, Brussels sprouts, and biscuits for dinner. Hell yeah. He probably had no idea how dangerous that was.
あれ？どっちが勝ったか聞かないん？
I don't think it matters right now. From the way he was acting, there was no need to even ask.
とにかく、急いでくれ。
ラジャー。
Since their plan to steal back Kagami had failed, there was a good chance Stratfor would resort to even more desperate measures. There was no time to waste. And... Did he get stabbed and is he hiding it? Is that what's happening right now?
いや、なんでもない。
なんでもないことないにゃ。見せるにゃ。
Ferris ripped off my coat. Oh, you did get stabbed, dude! Dude, come on! Please look after yourself! I tried to avoid looking at it, but there was a lot more dark blood staining the side of my shirt than I'd expected to see. When the man had stabbed me before, it must have gone in pretty deep.
問題ない。
問題ないわけないにゃ。
No, dude!
中にゃ。
Go to the fucking hospital!
俺は大丈夫だ。
Stabs to the torso are so fucking dangerous, dude! Oh yeah, he just smuggled a steak in from the grocery store. Why does my model keep doing that? I'm not moving. I'm not moving that much. Like I can go all the way over here and it's fine. But every once in a while it just goes doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Like that. Like that. I did it on purpose that time. He's acting like an American hiding from roaming ambulances. God damn it.
マユリ、それよりも、かがりは
She's bad.
かがりちゃん、しかり。
Yes, I want him to go to the hospital now! Dude, that could have punctured one of your fucking organs! They'll charge you upwards of $500,000 for the trip. Kagami was still lying on the sofa, panting for breath. For the last few days, she'd been getting weaker and weaker. Her hand reached up into the air.
ママ、どこにいるの？
ママはここだよ。ちゃんとそばにいるよ。
Mayuri grabbed her hand tightly, and she finally smiled a weak smile.
ママ、私、このまま 消えちゃうのかな。
大丈夫だよ。きっとオカリンとダルくんが何とかしてくれるから。
オカリンさん。
そうだよ。オカリン、わかるよね。
オカリンさん。
Kagari's lifeless eyes turned towards me.
心配しなくていい。もう少しで元通りになる。
岡部さん。私を消して。
かがり。
No.
彼女の中から私を消して。このままじゃ彼女が。
Those were Kurisu's words. Personality and memory were two different things. Just because she had Kurisu's memories, that didn't mean she had Kurisu's personality. But
お願い、岡部さん。私を消して。
those were definitely Kurisu's words. At least that's how it seemed to me. I remembered what she'd said before. She told me to save Mayuri. She told me she couldn't sacrifice Mayuri to save herself. Maybe there was a tiny chance that Kurisu's memories would safely settle inside Kagari's mind. But even if they did, I knew what she'd chosen. She'd chosen to leave. She'd chosen to disappear. I had no way of knowing if the words coming out of Kagari's mouth were from another personality created by Kurisu's memories. But there was no doubt that they were Kurisu's words. Right now, she was nothing but a formless thing called memories. So why? Why, even now when she was nothing more but memories, did she still have to suffer so much? Why did she have to suffer at all?
ごめんね、岡部。
Clear drops fell from her softly closed eyes.
誰まだか。
Kurisu. I asked him to stop myself from screaming her name.
待って、もうすぐ。
まずいよ、おじさん。
Suzuha whispered to me as she looked out the window.
1、2、3、何人か集まってきてる。ストラト4だ。
Uh-oh. Oh god, oh fuck.
よし、来い。
The tension was rising every second. Was he done yet? Why wasn't he done yet?
シュー誰シュー来たビンゴー
Lukako and the others brought the treatment device over, but I motioned for them to stay back as I looked down at the monitor. Maho leaned over Daru's other shoulder.
重要そうなファイルの中からサイズの大きなものを選んで。
待ってよ、大きなのずっと。もしかしてこれかな。
Uh-oh.
でもファイルネーム、
What did
ジ
you
ョン
find?
って。
John.
モーツァルトの洗礼名はヨハネ。きっとそれだわ。
Oh, right, because Amadeus.
なんかよくわからんけど OK。てか中にもファイルがいっぱいあるんですけど。
見せて。
Inside the folder were several files labeled with codes.
ファイルが増えてる。私たちの研究段階じゃこんなに多くなかった。
Which meant that after the Amadeus program was shut down, it had ended up in Stratfor's hands somehow, and they'd gone on to do more experiments with it.
この中のどれかがかがりさんの記憶データのはずだけど。
K6205 だ。
How do you know this?
K6205 番がかがりの記憶だ。誰
Wait, how do you know this? Wait a second. I'm missing something here. Kochel number 620, the magic flute.
K62 あった れた。
後の手はずは事前に話した通りに頼む。
Compared to Krisu's time leap machine, the process was a lot simpler. Since the memory data already existed, there was no need for a VR headset. Or the phone wave. All we had to do was just use the decoder program on Kagari's memory data, and then use CERN's LHC to compress it. Then we transferred the compressed data and sent it to the cell phone.
早く完全に囲まれた。
誰、準備はいいか。
オールオッケー。
よし、行くぞ。
待って。
I mean, even once we succeed, what the fuck is gonna happen? You guys are gonna die! I looked up and saw that Maho was staring at the screen, her features frozen in an iron mask.
どうした、ヒアジョさん。
本当にうまくいくのかしら。もし失敗したら、かがりさんは。
I reached my arm around Daru's back and put my hand firmly on her shoulder.
大丈夫だ。俺が保証する。
岡部さん。おじさん。
かがり。
I stepped away from the PC and knelt down in front of the sofa where Kagari lay.
岡部さん。
いいな。
Goodbye. Kurisu. No, 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 no. They're here.
了解。
The sound of footsteps coming up the stairs. The sound of the phone ringing. As all these different sounds filled the air. Wait a second. Wait a second. I'm gonna save real quick. Because what happens if we pick up the phone? As these different sounds filled the air. The phone I pressed against Kagari's head stopped ringing, and in that moment the world changed. I was inside a deep black darkness. There was no sound, no temperature. Just darkness, cold, and silence. No one was here. I didn't even know if I was asleep or awake. There was nothing but a vague sense of presence. Nothingness. Nothingness spreading out to infinity. Huh? What was I doing? Wasn't I?
ちょっと岡部、いつまでもそんなところで寝てると風邪ひくわよ。
Is that Kurisu? I turned towards the voice. Standing there next to the open curtains of the development room was...
何よ。
And she's back! How is this happening?
なんだ、クリス、いたのか。
Huh? Wait. Antinomic duel?
いたのかとはずいぶんご挨拶だな。さっきからずっとここにいたじゃない。
He's acting like he doesn't remember the last timeline. Wait a minute.
そうだったか。
そうよ。昨日も一昨日もずっとここにいたわよ。
It did seem that way, come to think of it. My head seemed like it was full of fuzz. But I wasn't sleepy or tired or anything like that. Yeah, we call it brain fog and it fucking sucks. My mind was very awake. But something was missing, something important.
そういえば、ダルやマユリはどうした？
あんた、本当に大丈夫？何か不具合でもあったんじゃない？
どういう意味だ？
橋田もまゆりも、ほら、そこにいるじゃない。
え？
おかりん。
Oh, something is wrong here. I also just skipped over the tuturu. I've been waiting to hear that for ages.
僕のこの
Look, okay. Sorry, Daru.
おかりん。てってれー。
Yeah!
すぎる存在感を見落としてるなんてどうかしてるぜオカリン。
Oh, that's right. Daru and Mayuri were always here, weren't they? No, it wasn't just them.
今日な、元気がないにゃ。フェイリスの萌え萌えチャームで元気を取り戻すんだにゃ。京馬さん、僕にできることがあったら何でも言ってくださいね。
Oh my god, did we just get transported into the timeline that the dating sim takes place in? Faris and Lukako too. And... Oh, it's been a while since we've seen you!
のためにその辺の食べられそうな草で私が特別ジュース作ってあげるよ。私もいるよ、岡部くん。
I love how that's all Moeka has to say. She sounds like me whenever Val and I stream. It's just, yeah, I'm here too. Suzuha and Moeka. All of the lab members were in the lab like they always were. That's right. This was my daily life. This was how I spent every day.
ふむ。全員いるようだな。
Wait, Faris is really short. I just noticed.
では、ただいまより第65,536回目の円卓会議を行う。お前たち準備はいいか？
まったく、いつも暑苦しいわね。
お前こそいい加減そのおすましフェイスはやめるんだな、常習。
だから私はあんたの助手になった覚えはないと言ったろうが。
I know this is probably a dream or something, but like, it is kind of just cute to have them all back together again. Especially after the events of this game.
オカリンとクリスちゃんはいつも仲良しだね。
イチャイチャしやがってリア充爆発しろ。
Thanks, Daru. Is it odd to see third-person Okabe? We've been seeing more of third-person Okabe this game. It was definitely strange in the first game.
ちょっと橋田、私がいつこいつとイチャイチャしたって言うのよ。
仲がいいほど喧嘩するって言うにゃ。羨ましいです。漆原ルカも一緒にイチャイチャすればいいじゃん。ダメです。僕にはそんなことできません。イチャイチャ。
ねえ、お前たちいつまで無駄話をしている。さっさと会議を始めるぞ。
で、今日の議題は何なんだ？
そんなものは決まっている。今日の議題は
What?
議題は
岡部？
Something was wrong.
オカリン？
Oh, it's turning more it's turning more sepia tone. Everything seemed the same, but
どうしたんオカリン。
oh, it's getting more washed out. That's right. It was cold.
京馬？
I didn't feel it.
京馬さん。
No emotions.
岡部倫太郎？
No warmth.
岡部くん。
Everyone was here. But it was cold and dark. Cold. Cold.
岡部くん。
Cold, 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 cold. Okay, I'm not saying it that many times.
岡部倫太郎。
It was so cold it felt like the marrow of my bones was going to freeze.
京馬さん。
Like my bones were made of ice.
京馬。
Like all the blood in my body had been replaced with mercury.
オカリン。
It was cold. Felt like I was going to freeze at any moment. What was this? Where was this place? Where was I?
岡部。
Is he just in the hospital? Oh. Oh! We're in the good timeline? Well, this doesn't look promising. Where was I? What was I doing? I tried to speak, but the words didn't come out. It looked like I was lying on a bed, and a very hard one at that. I slowly looked around. It wasn't the lab, and it wasn't my room. The room was old and gloomy. Of course, I'd never seen it before. Wake up! It was all a dream! Everything's worse now! God, yeah, it's like whenever I said we were in the good timeline, I saw this and was like, oh, we are in the bad timeline. We're in the very bad timeline. What was I doing here? There was a terrible pain in my head, like someone had jammed an electrode into my brain. I tried to raise my hand as I lay there, but it was too heavy. It was like all the joints in my body had frozen. It took all my strength to slowly sit up. Each time I moved a little, my muscles screamed and pain ran through my whole body. After several minutes, I finally succeeded on sitting on the edge of the bed and looking down. I realized I was wearing a white gown like hospital patients wear. There was some kind of equipment on my head, and the cables coming out of it were connected to a strange machine. Oh God, we got memory jacked! What had happened to me? Just a moment ago, I was... That's right, Kagari. Kurisu's memories had been downloaded into Kagari's head. We tried to erase them by overwriting them with Kagari's own memories. And then... That's right, I remembered now. The world line had shifted right after that. What had happened then? I tried to remember, but it was like my mind was filled with fog. For now, I needed to figure out where I was. I took off the headgear and got out of bed. And collapsed. This didn't make sense. Was I just dizzy after all that was going on in my head? I tried to stand up again. And I couldn't get any strength in my legs. I kept standing up and falling over, and in the end, I was only able to get up by grabbing the side of the bed. How could standing on my own 2 feet be so exhausting? Was I sick with some terrible disease? And then maybe I'd been in bed for several days? I somehow managed to drag my weak legs to the door. It was bizarrely heavy. Or maybe it just seemed that way to me. Was this all a blood loss related dream? Impossible. I mean, it could be. It only opened after I put my full weight on it. The door was locked, but it seemed to be the kind that could be opened from the inside. I walked down the dark hallway, leaning up against the wall for support. At the end of the hall were stairs. I clung to the railing and slowly walked up them. At the end of the stairs, I found a hatch. Using the full strength of my back, I was just barely able to get it open. I was inside an old building. I walked down the crumbling hallway, still clueless as to what was going on, and finally found the door to the outside. Exhausted, I staggered outside, and I saw... Well, shit. Mountains of shattered rubble.
なんだこれ
I think you could have used a harsher word there, Okabe. That would be fine. Rows of destroyed, abandoned buildings. Exposed, twisted steel girders. At first I thought it was a movie set, but it was all far too realistic for that. The walls, the windows, the ceilings, everything was destroyed. Little bits of rubble covered the ground. There were cracks in the asphalt in the road, making it impossible to walk straight. And it wasn't just directly in front of me. I spun around a full 360 degrees and saw the same scene everywhere. I smelled oil. I smelled something burning. I looked up to the sky. It was dark and gloomy. I thought it might just be cloudy, but something else seemed to be going on. I could see the hazy outline of the sun beyond the black curtain that covered the sky. A violent pain in my throat made me cough. I quickly covered my mouth with the sleeve of my gown. My eyes stung. I tried once more to calm down and see if I could remember what had happened, but I had no luck. All I knew for sure was that there had been a world line shift when I deleted Kurisu's memories from inside Kagari. The memories held by the Amadeus Kurisu. And the memories implanted in Kagari. Maybe when whoever owned them changed, that is, whoever held Kurisu's time machine theory, the world line changed with it. But the thing is, it changed before, didn't it? Oh, wait a second! The first time that the world line changed, Amadeus called Okabe and was like, hey, you need to save me, help me, help me. That's why the timeline changed. Someone got a hold of Amadeus Kurisu. And this was another altered world line, which meant that what I was seeing was... I saw what looked like an ash-covered stick poking out of the ground in the corner of my eye. I slowly went to take a closer look. It was sticking out of the rubble, and at the tip it split into 5 smaller branches. Oh, it's a hand. Yeah, okay. It was a human hand that had been scorched pitch black. A terrible feeling came rising up out of my stomach. Suddenly, I thought I saw something move. Someone was there. Where? I listened carefully to try and pick them out. God, I hope it's one of our friends. The other side of that big building. I could hear some kind of sound from over there. Was someone there? If there was, maybe they could tell me what the hell was going on. Trying my best not to make any sound, I peeked through the walls of the crumbling building. They were there, all right. There were people there. Lots of them. But they weren't people anymore. They were just human-shaped wads of meat, piled up into a mountain. And on top of the mountain was a pack of dogs. Something long and slick was hanging out of the dogs' mouths. Intestines. They were eating them. They were eating the bodies. The stench was horrible. The sound of the flies was overwhelming. It was like something out of hell. My gaze met the vacant eyes of one of the bodies. One of its eyes fell out and black insects crawled out of the empty socket. I ran away. I ran as fast as I could, stumbling forward on failing legs. Somewhere. Was there somewhere around here that was sane? But no matter how far I went, it was the same thing. Mountains of rubble. Rows of abandoned buildings. All I could see were the dead. There were no living humans. And then I found it. There were rows of huge buildings, which all looked as if they were about to fall over. The roads were full of cracks. There was a warped overpass sticking out of the ground. A few rows of iron and railroad ties. I knew it. I knew this place. It was only a shadow of its former self, but I knew it. This was Akihabara, which meant... Where was Mayuri? Where was Daru? Where was Ferris? What about Lukako or Suzuha? What happened to Maho and Kagari? Just as I ran towards the lab to find out, I heard footsteps behind me. Rough footsteps stomping over the rubble. More than one set. They got louder and louder, and soon I saw them coming towards me from between the crumbling buildings. There were 3 of them. They each had assault rifles in their hands. Oh, God! Oh, God. They're playing the most dangerous game. They're trying to hunt the most dangerous game.
そこで何をしている?
When they saw me, they all pointed their guns at me. There was so much I wanted to ask them. There were things I wanted to know. The only thought that came to me was that I needed to get away. But even as I tried to turn and run, my body refused to listen. They must have sensed that I was about to flee because one of them yelled. Holes appeared in the concrete at my feet. They'd shot at me. They really shot at me. They'd shot at me with real guns. If I'd been just a little closer, they would have hit me. I was too scared to stand. The men got closer, still holding the guns. Run. You have to run. But it was like my body belonged to someone else. It wasn't listening to me. The men kept getting closer. And then... there was another sharp noise. One of the men collapsed to the side. He hit his head on the rubble and stopped moving. The other two waved their guns around, clearly confused as to what just happened. Something dragged me to the ground. And then more gunshots. The two of them fell backwards, still holding their weapons at almost the exact same time. They died. Right in front of me. Someone had died. I could do nothing more than sit there and watch as a silhouette moved in front of me.
お前、死にたいのか?
Is that Suzuha? I looked up, and the person I saw was... Damn. Suzuha!
ほら、いつまでボケっと座っているつもりだ?
お前、殺したのか?
何を生っちょろいこと言ってるんだ、お前。
It was a colder voice than I'd ever heard.
お前、鈴葉だよな?
Her iron mask of an expression suddenly changed to surprise. But that was only for a moment. A second later, and the fierceness had returned.
お前、何者だ?
Did she really not...
俺のこと知らないのか?
Did the change in the world line mean that Suzuha and I had never met?
岡部だよ。岡部倫太郎だ。
The expression on her face changed again.
岡部倫太郎? そんな、バカな。
Two pairs of icy footsteps sounded in the
こっ
darkness.
ちだ。
After I'd given my name, Suzuha had stared at me suspiciously for a moment. Then she'd made some kind of call and told me to come with her. Are we actually, like, in Okabe's body is the question, because he did wake up, and he was covered, like, he had his head, like, he had stuff on his head, right? So maybe they were like, hey, instead of taking Kurisu's memories, Okabe also knows how to make a time machine. Let's implant his memories into someone else. She made me wear a blindfold almost the entire time, though. So I had no idea which way I'd gone or where I was.
止まれ。
I did as she said. When I heard the knock, I finally realized we were in front of a door.
君に萌え萌え。
バッキュンキュン。
They're definitely in the mind jack dimension. Evidently, that was the password. I could only think of one man who'd choose such a stupid password. I heard the sound of a heavily locked door opening, and at last I saw a dimly lit room in the darkness. The room was piled high with what looked like mechanical junk. Rows of instruments lined the walls. A man was sitting in front of them, looking straight at me.
よかった。やっと目を覚ましたんだな、オカリン。
Who was this guy? How did he know my name? He must have been in his mid-40s. Oh, God! Oh, God, we've been out for a hot minute! He was a big, broad-shouldered man with a stubbly face. There was a sharp but gentle light in his eyes. I felt like I'd seen him somewhere before.
あなたは。 やだな。
Damn,
僕の
Daru!
こと忘れたん？
I mean, to be fair, he aged pretty gracefully, all things considered. The way he talked, and that voice. There was only one person it could be, but that was...
まさか誰か。
The man's face broke into a broad smile.
よかった、覚えててくれて。てっきり忘れられたのかと思ったのだぜ。誰？本当に誰なのか。こんなナイスガイ、僕以外にいるわけないじゃん。な、鈴葉。
せめてもうちょっと痩せてくれれば認めなくもないけど。
そう言うなって。これでも若い頃に比べれば随分と痩せたんだぜ。
Indeed, the Daru in front of me was quite a bit slimmer than the Daru I knew.
というか父さん、少し言葉遣いおかしくない？
僕も久々にこういう話し方したよ。でもオカリンはこの方が話しやすいだろうと思ってさ。
The more pressing issue, though, was his age. He was clearly a middle-aged man. The youngest I could possibly imagine him to be was his early 40s. And then I saw a shelf in the corner. I saw a man I didn't know reflected in its glass. It was another man like him in his 40s. He was staring at me with a gloomy, sunken face. I slowly raised my right hand, and the man raised his left as if copying me.
誰？一つ教えてくれ。何でもどうぞ。今は何年だ？
I have a feeling I know the answer. Daru's smile quickly became something more serious as he answered me.
2036年、世界は戦乱の真っ只中だ。
Yeah, I figured as much. Daru gave me all of the details. Maybe this would be a good place to end stream for the night. Like, I know that's a little bit shorter than usual, but honestly, I have some things that I want to take care of in real life too, and honestly, I can't think of a better place to end this. So, I think I'm gonna save here. And, we'll go to the talking screen. Of course, we have to save twice. There we go. All right, well, holy shit. Holy shit, holy fucking shit, what? Huh? All right. Okay. So, I don't know how we got to 2036. Because, like, the timeline changed, but that doesn't normally, like, send us way further in time. Like, is it maybe that Okabe was, like, stuck in a coma for fucking 40 years or whatever? That is a nightmare, by the way. That is an absolute fucking nightmare. You, like, something happens to you one day, and then you wake up and people are like, dude, it's been 20 years. You've lost 20 years of your life. And also, like, in that 20 years, all kinds of shit can happen in that time. Like, people you love could have passed away. Your home might not exist anymore. You know, like, the entire world might look different than it did yesterday. There could be new technology that you don't know about, that you've never heard of, that's just normal now and has been for some time. Like, that is a fucking nightmare. And, like, the fact that he woke up in a fucking war zone full of corpses getting actively eaten by wild dogs really doesn't make that any better. Good God. Okabe, I feel a bit bad for using up all the Pain Train titles already, because good God, we sure have hit it. We sure have gone on the fucking Pain Train. Oh boy. But yeah, now I'm really excited for next week because, admittedly, part of the reason why I'm ending here is just because I know that, like, I would probably go through the rest of the chapter tonight. And like I said, I have other stuff I have to do before I go to bed. So, Can't be playing video games all night. Can't be playing video games all night. I have a lot of writing that I want to do. And also, I just don't want to stay up until like midnight. You just missed the Spider World War we lost. I mean, to be fair, okay, you know what? I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up. Just give me a sec. I gotta open up my internet browser. Okay. How many individual spiders are there on Earth? Okay. Since I like, okay, this is from this is from a site called robertlovespie.net, and the title is The Spider to Human Ratio. Since I like spiders, I was pleased to read a rough estimate of 21 quadrillion for the world's population of spiders. Okay, current world population 2024. Okay, so there are 8.2 billion humans. Now let me bring up the calculator. Okay, so 21 quadrillion, so 21, and then 1, 2, 3 for 1,000, 1, 2, 3 for million, 1, 2, 3 for billion, 1, 2, 3 for trillion, and 1, 2, 3 for quadrillion. Does my calculator not go up that high? My calculator might not go up that high. Fuck. Okay, I'll use the calculator on my phone. Maybe it's just my computer calculator that isn't working for me. Because I want to know how many spiders every human would have to fight in a war against spiders versus humans. Okay. It's 1,000, million, billion, trillion. Can't enter more than 15 digits. What the fuck is wrong with calculators? What is 21 quadrillion divided by 8.2 billion? Okay, so rounded up, every human would have to fight 2,560,976 spiders in the Spider World War. Can you do it? Can you kill over 2 million spiders? This is dumb. What am I doing? All right, well, that wasn't a mystery we needed an answer to, but goddamn if it didn't get solved. Well, okay then. That's a lot of spiders we need to eat in our sleep. Look, Spider's Jorg will help us. He's our secret weapon in the humans versus spiders war. But little do we know, the spiders are developing their own secret weapon. Based on our comics, they're creating real-life Spider-Man. Oh, no, we can't get more into this. We can't get more into Spider War lore. Spider War lore. God, that is a fucking phrase. Anyways, before we get deeper into the madness, I'll get into the like usual end of stream housekeeping stuff. So if you're new around here and you like what you saw, hit the subscribe button. And also, if you are new around here and you haven't seen Steins Gate 0 before, then what the fuck are you doing? If you go into my live tab, I have VODs of both my playthrough of this game and also the original Steins Gate. So I heavily recommend that you check them out. I'm not super proud of some parts of the original Steins Gate playthrough, but I do want to go back to it at some point, maybe make some highlights. I don't know when I'm getting around to that, though, I'll be real. I have like a billion things I want to work on at all times, and I need to start focusing on one, because nothing is getting done. But anyway, so I have noticed both this screen and the game screen say my Twitter handle. I don't use Twitter anymore. I use that just for like stream announcements. If you actually want to just see like funny shit posts from me, like if you do just want stream announcements, first off, you can just subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. You know, I'll like that'll give you those notifications. But if you want to see just like funny shit posts from me, if you want to see me talk about Pokemon TCG or Discworld, That's all over on Blue Sky. My Blue Sky handle is the same. It's Cipher Novella, if I remember correctly. Let me pull it up to be absolutely safe. Yeah, it's cyphernovella.bsky.social. So, definitely check me out there. You're gonna get much better stuff over there than you are on Twitter. Right now, I just use Twitter for links. Dead bird app is dead. Long live endoparasitic metamorphic insects. Exactly. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I have anything else to say. I don't think that Val and I are doing Great Ace Attorney this weekend. I haven't heard anything from her, so I will see you guys next Wednesday, I believe. And yeah, we're gonna see more of this wild shit. Like, we have officially, like, the shit has officially hit the fan. It hit the fan originally with the whole, like, timeline shift and whatever, but it has really hit the fan. We have 40-year-old Daru here. My god. All right. So, with that, before I just keep rambling, have a good night, everyone. And try your best not to go into a coma for 20 years, because Jesus fucking Christ, what a nightmare. All right. Have a good night, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, fuck. Where's my end screen? There it is.